In 2005, the backers totaled 30 of Pittsburgh's 47 sacks on their way to winning Super Bowl 40. But they aren't the Pittsburgh unit that's next on our list.
The number 7 linebacking core of all time, the Steelers of the mid-90s.
I think the second Pittsburgh set of linebackers
all day
is probably better than the 70s version because you had Mean Joe Green and L.C. Greenwood. You had all that pressure and all that heat. Well, in this case, the heat was coming from Lloyd and Green from the outside.
In the mid-90s, Greg Lloyd, Kevin Green, Chad Brown, and LaVon Kirkland turned Pittsburgh into Blitzburgh.
When you think about pressure, that's exactly what they did.
You get where you feel like you can rush the quarterback. You understand? Yeah. Rush the quarterback.
Do not let that damn quarterback out of there.
They had an attitude, that Pittsburgh attitude that Lambert and Ham and Russell set back in the 70s.
Better cool your ass off.
They were just the 90s version of it.
That's Steeler defense. That's Steeler defense.
Nobody on our number 7 linebacking core brought more attitude than Greg Lloyd.
Walk your ass out here and get embarrassed.
Greg Lloyd was not a particularly big man, but I think Greg Lloyd's one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen.
I don't feel sorry for you. Line up and play football.
Greg Lloyd just liked to hurt people.
He better slide. I'm gonna bust his ass.
That guy across from me, he has to raise his level of play or he's gonna get his ass kicked all day.
I think Greg Lloyd may be one of the best football players I've ever seen.
Back, here's Blake. Lloyd gets to him. Loose football. Steelers have it. What a play by Greg Lloyd.
In 1993, Pittsburgh found him a partner.
Dog rush one, man. Heel on the flip.
Kevin Green and he just fed off each other.
They can't beat us. They can't beat us, all right?
You had pure emotion between Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd.
Not today, baby.
Kevin is crazy like a fox.
I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
If you were going into a troubled situation, I think you'd want to take Kevin along with you.
Come on! Let's crank it!
There was mayhem on the edges and a monster in the middle.
The one that surprises people is LaVon. Because LaVon, he was rather robust.
That 273-pound monster middle linebacker who runs like a gazelle.
Kirkland was like a defensive tackle playing at the Mike linebacker. You know, I remember trying to chase that guy down, and he was bigger than I was.
The name of this damn game is respect. Let's line up and let's do it.
The backers carried Pittsburgh to 3 AFC title games in 4 years, and only Neil O'Donnell could keep them from a ring.
O'Donnell threw it right to him. There was no receiver out there.
As these guys grew not only into their position, but into each other, they were a formidable force. They were tough to deal with.
The number 2 linebacking core of all time, the Steelers of the 70s.
The Pittsburgh Steelers had the greatest defense over a period of time I've ever seen.
Starting in 1974, the Steel Curtain defense led Pittsburgh to 4 Super Bowl wins in 6 seasons.
I think almost every starter but 1 or 2 on that team was a Pro Bowler.
But I think the most important part of that defense was the linebacking core. I think they were the heart and soul of it.
Our number 2 linebacking core of Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, and Andy Russell was together for the first 2 Super Bowls. Russell was a 7-time Pro Bowler who had been with the team over a decade before Lambert even arrived.
Andy was this wily all-pro.
Andy, let's get one.
Who always seemed to make plays and made very few mistakes.
I mean, you talk about a guy that can think on his feet. That guy there, he's probably doing stock calculations in between plays.
Russell's approach differed dramatically from the fiery Kent State product who would come to symbolize the Steel City.
Jack Lambert was the single most intimidating force in football.
Better cool your ass off.
And maybe the single most intimidating force in the history of football.
He epitomized the intensity the fans felt.
Interference! Oh, you hole!
You know, with the no front teeth and just his Clint Eastwood ways.
What you've seen of Jack Lambert,
Holy mackerel!
what you've heard about his reputation is all true.
But the ferocity that made Lambert both feared and fabled wasn't a complete picture.
His image as being this rock'em sock'em kind of guy had little to do with why he was so successful. The guy was just a very smart, very technically proficient player
who could anticipate what was going to happen. He was simply so gifted at shoring up the middle.
The guy that seems to get the most publicity is Jack Lambert. I thought he was a fine football player. But Jack Ham and Andy Russell were great football players.
Picked up by the Steelers, the 30, the 40. He's going to go for a Steeler touchdown.
And I think Jack Ham was the best outside linebacker that I ever played against.
In the 60s and the 70s, Jack Ham was the best linebacker I ever saw. Bar none. Middle or outside, Jack Ham was the best.
And it is intercepted. There's an interception by Jack Ham.
A lot of people say LT was better than him. I disagree. LT was just a pass rusher. Jack Ham played the game of football. He tackled. He intercepted. He was great in coverage. He was great on the pass rush. There was nothing he couldn't do.
Go ahead, take it.
In Pittsburgh's defense, the linebackers didn't target the passer. They covered the passer's targets.
The strength we had was assisting the defensive backs in the passing game.
We didn't come off the field. You know, when it was 3rd and down and or obvious passing situations, we were out there playing.
And it is intercepted, picked off at the 25.
Jack Ham and Andy Russell and myself all played in the 220 range, and we had to be able to run.
We could play defenses that other teams just couldn't even think about playing.
Pittsburgh's backers combined for 25 Pro Bowls and played their best in the biggest games.
I played them in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. And the week before, they had played the Oakland Raiders before that, and I think the Oakland Raiders had gained 21 yards rushing. And I said, I'll tell you one thing, we'll rush for more than 21 yards against the Steelers. You know how many yards we rushed for in the Super Bowl? 17. 17 yards against the Steelers defense.
There's never been a better threesome. There's never been guys who interlocked together, whose talents complemented each other. I don't think any linebacking core in history even compares to those guys.
But success can be a double-edged sword. The Steelers fielded 9 Hall of Famers and sent an annual parade of defensive players to the Pro Bowl.
They were protected well by Joe Green and Dwight White, L.C. Greenwood. That's a pretty good defensive line for those linebackers to be playing with.
It's all about Super Bowls. They won a lot of Super Bowls. And when you win a lot of Super Bowls, you get a lot of notoriety.
Coming up, why